I'm here to introduce a new series. This first episode is called Twilight over Luoyang. The city of Luoyang rests under a cooling twilight. The sun has long slipped beyond the horizon, leaving behind streaks of rose and pale gold, slowly fading into deep indigo. Along the Luo River, lanterns begin to appear, small flames floating in paper shells, drifting across the water like stars set free from the sky. The Tang capital is alive even at night, but it is not hurried. Along the riverbanks, merchants fold their stalls, gathering bolts of silk, porcelain bowls, and baskets of tea leaves. Their motions are slow and deliberate, as though the day's bustle has been gently folded away with the fabric. A faint sound of bells carries from a distant pagoda, marking the hour. A scholar walks along the embankment, sleeves long and flowing, a bamboo scroll tucked beneath his arm. He pauses to watch the lanterns drifting downstream. His eyes trace their glow as they gather in clusters, floating together, then separating again. "Fine," he whispers verses of poetry under his breath, words no louder than the lapping of the river against stone steps. Nearby, a group of young musicians set up by the water's edge. Their instruments, pippa, flute, and soft drums, are polished smooth from use. They begin to play, not loudly, but with a rhythm that blends with the night. The plucked notes of the pippa ripple like water. The flute carries a high, clear sound, drifting like the flight of a crane across the sky. Passers-by slow their steps, listening quietly, some closing their eyes, letting the music soak into the evening. Boats drift lazily on the river. Some carry merchants heading home. Others are small pleasure boats, lit with red silk lanterns, their reflections painting the water in gentle streaks. In one, a poet and his companions share cups of warm rice wine. Their voices are hushed, their laughter low, carried away by the breeze. The wine cups clink softly, and then silence follows as each turns toward the moon rising above the water. Within the city walls, courtyards glow faintly from oil lamps. Families gather for evening meals, rice steaming in clay bowls, vegetables simmering with ginger. The scent carries into the streets, mingling with the faint fragrance of lotus blossoms from nearby gardens. In some houses, children recite lessons quietly, voices steady but drowsy. In others, elders tell stories, voices soft and rhythmic, as their listeners drift toward sleep. The night deepens. The Luo River, with its endless lanterns, becomes the spine of the city's stillness. The stars above mirror the stars below, and the people of Tang China find themselves between two skies, each calm, each infinite. Welcome to Between Two Skies, a series where we explore the world through immersive soundscapes. Each episode transports you to a different time and place, inviting you to experience the sights, sounds, and even smells of a world long past or a culture far away. Today we journey to the heart of Tang Dynasty China, an era known for its opulence and cultural brilliance. Our story unfolds in Luoyang, the capital of this vast empire. As the sun sets, casting the city in hues of amber and rose, We find ourselves beside the Luo River, a ribbon of silver winding through the bustling city. Here merchants have lined the banks with their wares, creating a vibrant marketplace that throbs with the energy of 1,000 bartering voices. The air is alive with the aroma of spices, roasted chestnuts, and freshly baked bread, mingling with the sweet perfume of lotus blossoms carried on the evening breeze. Above it all, the tinkling of bells from a distant pagoda marks the passage of time, each chime echoing the measured cadence of life in the imperial court. As dusk deepens, we meet a wandering scholar. His long flowing robes whisper with every measured step he takes, and his gaze is as sharp and keen as the bamboo scroll tucked under his arm. He pauses to contemplate the river, where the last embers of sunlight mingle with the first glimmers of starlight. And as he does, we hear the gentle splash of small paper boats, each one a flickering lantern drifting on the current. These celestial lanterns, set free from the hands of children at play, float like fallen stars on the water, tracing luminous paths across the inky expanse of the river. The scholar smiles, for in this dance of light and shadow, he sees a reflection of the eternal harmony between humanity and nature, a philosophy that has guided his life and studies. A little further down the embankment, a group of young musicians have gathered. Their instruments, the pipa, the flute, and soft drums, rest on their laps, each one as polished and smooth as the moonlight on the water. Now they begin to play, filling the twilight with music that speaks of distant lands and bygone eras. The notes of the pipa, plucked with nimble fingers, ripple on the surface of the river like the flight of dragonflies over the water. The flute, held aloft, sends forth a high, clear sound that drifts like the graceful flight of a crane across the evening sky. And as the musicians weave their melodies together, the very essence of the night seems to pour from their instruments, blending seamlessly with the soft lapping of the river against the stone steps below. We pause to listen, letting the music wash over us and transport us to a world where time itself seems to stand still. As the night deepens, the river comes alive with boats of all shapes and sizes. Some are laden with cargo, their crews working diligently to keep to the rhythm of the night. Others are smaller, their purpose pure pleasure. These pleasure boats, adorned with red silk lanterns, glide gracefully through the inky waters, their reflections painting the surface in gentle streaks of crimson. On one such boat, a poet sits with his companions, sharing cups of warm rice wine and reciting verses that echo with the passion and joy of the Tang Dynasty. Their voices, hushed and intimate, mingle with the soft splash of oars in the water and the gentle sway of the boat on the current. As they drink, they fall silent, their gazes drawn to the moon rising above the eastern hills. For a moment, there is only the soft gurgling of the river and the faint twinkling of stars beginning to pepper the darkening sky. It is a moment of quiet contemplation, a pause in the symphony of the night. With the passing of time, the bustling marketplace has quieted, replaced by the gentle murmur of families returning home. We find narrow streets lined with houses, each with its own courtyard glowing warmly from oil lamps suspended from wooden beams. Within these homes, the evening rituals are just beginning. The scent of rice, steamed in clay bowls, mingles with the aroma of braised vegetables, seasoned with ginger and garlic. At one house, the rhythmic slap of dough being kneaded echoes softly from the kitchen, a familiar lullaby to the family gathered there. In another, the quiet murmur of voices accompanies the soft clatter of porcelain as family members recount the events of their day over cups of fragrant tea. The aged matriarch sits at the head of the table, her wrinkled hands resting on a carved wooden armrest, her eyes twinkling with the wisdom of years. As the youngest child recites his lessons, his voice clear and eager, she smiles, her heart swelling with pride. In the courtyards, children chase fireflies, their laughter echoing in the twilight. The flickering lights dance in their cupped hands, tiny stars captured from the night sky. As the night deepens, the city of Luoyang sinks into a peaceful slumber. The Luo River, now a path of shimmering lanterns, winds its way through the sleeping city, a silent witness to the dreams of its people. Above, the sky is a tapestry of stars, mirroring the constellations that shimmer on the water below. And as we stand beside the river, we feel as though we are caught between two skies, each infinite, each eternal. The hustle and bustle of the day fade into memory, leaving only the gentle whisper of the river and the soft sigh of the evening breeze. It is a moment of profound stillness, a reminder of the beauty and tranquility that can be found in the heart of even the busiest cities. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to like and subscribe. You can also follow us for more updates. Until next time, may your days be filled with the wonders of the world and your nights with peaceful dreams. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, may you find moments of tranquility in your day. And may you always remember to look up and find magic in the everyday. Thank you for listening, and until next time, goodbye. In the stillness of the 13th month, when winter's grip tightens and the sun sets early, casting long shadows across Luoyang's bustling streets, the heart of the imperial city begins to slow its frantic pace. By the stroke of 9, most shops have shuttered their doors, their wares hidden away until the morning sun returns. Only a handful of night owls and insomniacs dare venture out, seeking solace in the quiet hum of a moonlit city. In a tea house, tucked into a narrow alley, 2 scholars linger over their final bowls of tea. Their voices are soft, their words measured, as if afraid to disturb the slumbering night. One speaks of distant lands, of towering mountains and winding rivers. The other listens intently, nodding his head at just the right moments, his eyes far away, as if seeing the scenes unfold before him. The tea has grown cold, but neither man notices, their conversation flowing like the long river. A young woman walks home from her evening chores, her footsteps echoing in the empty street. She holds a small lantern high, its light dancing in her wide eyes, its flame reflecting the flickering candlelight from the shop windows. She passes an old woman seated on a low stool, knitting needles clicking rhythmically. The old woman looks up, her face etched with the wisdom of years, her eyes twinkling like distant stars. The girl returns the woman's smile, her own face illuminated by the warmth of the flickering lantern. The city's heart may be sleeping, but life still stirs in the quiet corners of Luoyang. A young mother cradles her sleeping child, humming a soft lullaby. Her voice is barely a whisper, but her love echoes in every note. Beside her, an old man dozes, his breathing slow and steady, his face creased with age and wisdom. In the courtyard, a cat stretches languidly, its fur glowing faintly in the moonlight. It yawns, showing a pink tongue and sharp teeth, then pads silently toward the house, disappearing into the shadows. A watchman makes his rounds, his footsteps echoing in the empty streets. He carries a long staff, his head held high, his eyes scanning the darkened alleys. Every so often he stops, raises his voice and calls out, "All is well." His voice carries across the silent city, a reassuring sound in the stillness of the night. He continues his patrol, his shadow stretching long and thin in the moonlight. A solitary figure keeping watch over the sleeping city. On the banks of the Luo River, a lone fisherman casts his net into the still water. The net sinks slowly, disappearing into the darkness. The fisherman waits patiently, his boat rocking gently on the water, his eyes fixed on the spot where his net has landed. Suddenly, his net ripples, signaling a catch. He pulls in his line, bringing in fish that shimmer and twist in the moonlight. With practiced hands, he transfers the fish to his boat, their scales flashing silver in the darkness. Satisfied with his haul, he turns his boat toward shore, leaving the empty river to its silent vigil. In the imperial palace, a scribe pauses his copying, his brush hovering over the silk. The lamplight flickers, casting dancing shadows on the wall. He dips his brush into the ink, continuing his task, recreating ancient texts with meticulous care. Each stroke is precise, each curve and angle perfect. He works tirelessly, his focus unwavering, his dedication to his craft evident in every line he creates. Outside the palace walls, a traveler walks along a deserted road, his footsteps crunching on the gravel. The moon hangs high in the sky, casting a silvery glow on the traveler's face. He clutches a staff, his shoulders stooped against the night wind. The road stretches endlessly before him, leading him deeper into the darkness. He walks on, his shadow stretching long and thin behind him. In a monastery nestled amidst the hills, a monk kneels in prayer. His hands are folded, his eyes closed, his head bowed. He whispers words of devotion, his voice barely audible above the wind. Around him, other monks chant sutras, their voices rising and falling in harmony. The rhythm of their chanting fills the air, creating an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. A painter awakens from a dreamless sleep, his mind already contemplating his next masterpiece. He washes his hands, preparing for a day of creation. He dips his brush into ink, testing the flow, feeling the weight in his hands. On a blank scroll, he makes the first mark, a bold stroke of black against white. From this starting point, he builds his painting, each brushstroke adding depth and meaning to the composition. His movements are fluid, his colors harmonious, his vision taking shape on the canvas. As the night deepens, the sounds of the city fade away, replaced by the chirping of crickets. Their song is a constant presence, a natural lullaby. The moon climbs higher in the sky, bathing the world in its silvery light. Stars twinkle above, forming patterns that shift and change with the passing hours. The world is still, the only movement, the rustling of leaves in the wind, and the soft glow of lanterns in distant windows. At the imperial stables, a groom brushes a noble steed, its muscles rippling beneath its coat. The horse snorts, pawing the ground impatiently, eager for the dawn when it will run free across the fields. The groom finishes his task, his hands moving with practiced ease. He drapes a saddle blanket over the horse's back, preparing it for its master's early morning ride. The horse shies slightly, shaking off the blanket, but stands still as the groom adjusts the saddle and bridle. A mother rocks her child in a cradle, singing softly to soothe the infant to sleep. Her voice is gentle, her touch tender. The child's eyelids grow heavy, their breathing slowing. Soon the baby is fast asleep, cradled in the warmth of their mother's love. The mother continues rocking the cradle, her gaze fixed on her sleeping child, her heart filled with a deep, abiding joy. In the grand view garden, flowers sway in the night breeze, their petals brushing against one another. The air is fragrant with the scent of night-blooming jasmine. Crickets chirp their song, a gentle background to the rustling leaves. Fireflies dance, their lights flickering like fallen stars. A lone guard patrols the garden path, his footsteps silent on the soft grass. A poet sits at his desk, his brush poised over a blank sheet of paper. Ink, he dips his brush into a small dish of water, swirling it gently to mix the pigment. He brings the brush to the paper, leaving the first stroke, then pauses, lost in thought. Each stroke he makes is deliberate, each curve and angle carefully considered. The poem takes shape, expressing his innermost feelings, his connection to the world around him. In a humble noodle shop, the cook prepares a simple meal for a weary traveler. The air is filled with the aroma of boiling water and fresh noodles. The cook ladles soup into a bowl, adding toppings of green onions and sesame. He hands the bowl to the traveler, who sits at a small table eating slowly, savoring each bite. The traveler warms not only from the hot soup, but also from the kindness of the cook, feeling nourished for the journey ahead. In a Buddhist temple, monks gather for evening prayers, their voices echoing in the vast hall. Incense smoke drifts from burning sandalwood, filling the space with a sweet, woody fragrance. The monks kneel, their heads bowed in unison. They chant scriptures, their words carrying centuries of wisdom and devotion. Their voices rise and fall, creating a soothing rhythm that invites peace and reflection. A scholar paces his study, his mind grappling with a complex text. He stops, picks up a scroll, unrolls it, and begins to read, his lips moving silently as he deciphers the ancient script. Each character he reads brings him closer to understanding. his mind expanding with new knowledge. The lamplight flickers, casting dancing shadows on the walls, illuminating not only the room, but also the scholar's path to enlightenment. As the night deepens, the city of Luoyang becomes a tapestry of dreams. Each person within its bounds, whether awake or asleep, contributes a thread to this intricate design. Some chase their ambitions, others seek solace, and some simply dwell in the beauty of the moment. As the moon climbs higher and crickets chirp their nightly chorus, the city embraces the tranquility of the night, finding peace in the darkness.